his status?
Well, as of yesterday, because I haven't discussed anything with the trainer today or Cook, you know, he said he felt better than he thought he would. He was walking around yesterday without any, you know, crutch or anything. So, you know, I think he's day to day. Is he going to start on Thursday? I would say as of now, probably not. Maybe not Friday. Hopefully we'll get him back by the end of the series or at the tournament. But, you know, it's sprained. It's a sprained ankle. There's nothing broke, and it's just a matter of him healing up.
How do you feel about Opitz?
I feel real good about Opitz. I mean, he's got a lot of experience. This past summer, he played with the Midland Redskins, you know, an advanced team that, you know, a lot of times the seniors, when they graduate, they don't have a lot of places to go play, and he was there pretty much everyday guy, came in and caught well in the fall. I think in a different situation, he'd have a lot more playing time, but with Grant coming back his junior year, obviously he wants to play every day, and we played him a lot. And but when Opitz played, he played well. I think the issue is, you know, how's the stamina? How's he going to be in the 7th, 8th, and 9th? You know, is he going to hold up because he doesn't have, you know, just the time back there? So, but I feel good about him. He's a really good catch and throw guy. He's quick back there. The pitchers like throwing to him. He can block as well as anybody, and you know, hopefully he'll do the same type of job that, you know, Kinley did for us this past week and just step in and play.
Yeah, Dave, whether it's been the bullpen or the infield or now catcher, you've had guys that have come in and done pretty well as backups. How big has that been?
Well, it's huge at this level. I said it the other day after the game. You know, a lot of times at this level, you know, you have your starters and you have guys that aren't ready yet, and they can't, you know, just fill in and keep you close to the same level that maybe you lost. You drop down a notch because of experience or talent or whatever the case. But so far, you know, we've had guys step it up pretty good and have filled in and made plays or got big hits, and, you know, you haven't noticed it. Now over a long period of time, I'm sure you would, but, you know, for a weekend or a couple weeks, you know, I think we're okay. So hopefully these guys that get an opportunity to play the last series of the year, big series for us on the road, will, you know, play good baseball and you know, get us ready to head to the tournament.
From what you've seen of Georgia, what do you think's contributed to the fact that they've turned it around this year?
Well, first off, just the experience in that lineup now. You know, they started 4 and 5 freshmen in that lineup last year, and, you know, they got all nine position players back. And Scott Strickland's a friend of mine. We coached together with Team USA, you know, back in 2011, and he was at Kent State, and then he ended up getting the Georgia job. And he's a very good coach. A lot of talent. I mean, that state is incredible for baseball talent. Everybody's getting in there from that region, and, you know, just think that it's the experience more than anything. The pitching's been a lot better, and that lineup is a little scary. They've got some guys that can hammer the baseball pretty good, and, you know, it'll be a great series.
You're getting talked about as a potential national seed. It's getting close to the end here. How much does that enter into what you need to do to get there?
Well, you know, I mean, we haven't talked one time with our team about it. You know, they know if we just keep playing and win enough games, and, you know, we'll be in the conversation. That's for sure. If we win a lot of games, you know, it'll be easy. But, you know, the strength of schedule is not going down. It's 5 or 6 now. Playing on the road at Georgia, they ought to go to like 2 or 3, and then you go to the SEC tournament. Play more teams. We win some games. We're beating teams that are ranked. It's a neutral site. You know, it's there for us. It's not the major concern for us. I mean, we just want to win this series, and you know, I think that after this series is over, we'll kind of know where we're at, and if we still have work to do, then, you know, we're going to do everything we can to win that tournament without hurting ourselves. You know, we know we're going to host a regional. We feel good about that. We know we're going to be in a regional #1. That's the main thing, and. So I think the team is excited. I think they're relaxed. Just looking forward to heading to Athens and playing baseball.
I know you talked about wanting to obviously do a little better on the road. You got one more chance. I think they're ranked 13th in the coaches poll. Just how big a series is it from that standpoint from the road?
Well, we need to play better on the road, win or lose. You know, I felt like we've just played okay. We haven't done enough to win, obviously, and we played really good teams on the road that are good at home. I mean, you think about Ole Miss and Florida, and then LSU, they're tough to beat at their place. And, you know, we just didn't finish series there. We had a chance to win them, and you know, Mississippi State, I think we just had a bad weekend. We had a bad day. We had to play 2 games in one day, and you know, we had a couple injuries that day. Shaddy didn't play, didn't get to finish his at-bat that was the biggest at-bat in game 2 or the first game of the doubleheader, and it was just one of those weekends. I think most teams go through it. I think every team's pretty much gone through a bad weekend except for Florida, and they just got so much pitching. It's hard to get them twice in a weekend. But you know, the players know where we're at. I don't think they're looking at the past. They're just, hey, we got to move forward and let's go down there and win the first ball game. Let's try to win this series, and you know, we'll go from there. We're not stressing out about the road at all.
How much does winning the West mean to this program?
Well, you know, I mean, everybody wants to win your division. That's just part of being a competitor. I don't think it's the main thing. Our main thing is we want to get to the World Series, but you know, it'd be a nice step. It'd be something you could talk about. You know, you got a chance to win the West. You got a chance to win a tournament, regional, and if you win that, you get to continue on. So there's a lot of things out there that we can still accomplish.
Who do you go with at short? What's Biggers?
Well, right now we're going with Kinley. You know, Biggers is still extremely sore. He didn't hit yesterday. We had some live pitching yesterday with hitters, and he didn't swing the bat. And I don't know if he's going to practice too much today. I think probably his plan right now and the trainer's plan, from what I knew on Sunday, was just let's let him just try to recover and heal a little bit until we get down to Georgia and practice tomorrow. So as of right now, I see Kinley starting and I see Opitz starting.
How about Hunter Wilson?
I see Hunter Wilson starting. Yeah, he did a good job. He made a little bit of a wild throw, but everything was good. The technique was good. He just made a wild throw. Other than that, I thought he played really good defense. He brought energy. He was tough out, and you know, I see him starting game 1.
From a batting average perspective, Kjerstad and Martin are 1 and 2 among freshmen in the conference. What have you thought about how they've been able to, not only do well, but sustain it all season?
Yeah, you know, a lot of times the freshmen, they'll have a good week or weekend, or you know, good week, bad week, whatever. Those guys have been pretty consistent. If they have a bad day, they usually bounce back, and they've contributed all year with their bat and their glove. Martin's such a threat on the bases. He can score from first on just about every double. He's fun to watch. And then Kjerstad, I mean, he's just one swing away from putting on being able to drive the ball out of the park. They both are, really. So they bring a lot to the field. They've been a threat. They've both driven in runs, I think. But what I've been most proud of them is that they've been able to maintain it. They've kept their head on straight when they've had a bad day, and they both had some bad days, but that's part of the process. There's juniors that have bad days, so it's fun to be able to see those guys, you know, playing every day in this league at this level, and knowing that they'll be back for a couple of years, and we can kind of build that lineup around them a little bit, and hopefully some good players are going to want to play around those guys and show up here this next August.
It seems like in the fall they started this pretty quick for you.
Yeah.
That first week.
Well, Kjerstad showed right when he got here what he could do, and we kind of felt like a couple weeks in that, you know, it was going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup. He was going to have to, you know, fall on his face, which he never did. And a lot of times young guys, they might, but and then with Martin, we saw the talent. He didn't see it. He wasn't having as great a fall as, you know, maybe Heston, but we knew, the staff, that he was going to play a lot. And, you know, he didn't start the first game of the season, but after that, slowly got in and out. And then once he got in, we left him in.
Obviously, you wouldn't recruit those guys if they even think they were good, but if they surprised you at the level they played at?
Maybe a little bit. I think any coach would you know, almost be, I wouldn't say lying, but maybe, you know, if they said, oh yeah, we thought we were going to do that, that freshman was going to do that as a freshman, I don't think so. They got to go out and do it. You never know where kids are, and mentally, can they handle it with everything that's going on around them, with academics and social and friends and people pulling on them, and they just can't handle it. And those guys have done a good job because they're focused. They're more advanced mentally than a lot of freshmen. They feel like they're good, and they're pretty dedicated, and they know what they want to be, where they want to be in a couple of years, and that's being positioned. You know, it's after here is have a chance to play pro ball at a high level.
When you were out for each one of them, when you were out recruiting them and got them signed and got them here, what expectations did you have for them coming into their freshman?
I felt like both of them would contribute as freshmen, and maybe a lot, just depending on, at the time when we signed them, didn't know what was going to be here, who was going to come back in that situation, because it's almost year to year now with the draft and, just things that go on. But once we walked on campus in August, we felt like that these two guys, and maybe another player or two or pitcher or two, could really help us with a team that was a little bit older, with a lot more experience than we've had in the past. And they stepped right in. I think the older players accepted it. They saw the talent, and they saw that in the locker room these guys were good. They weren't in there telling everybody how good they were and what they were going to do, because we've had freshmen do that, and it usually doesn't work out too well. They just kept their mouth shut, worked hard every day, and went and proved it with the way they played, and that's the way you go about it.
Do you remember having two freshmen that good on one of your teams?
Well, maybe not. Not here. I mean, I've had a couple pretty good ones at Nebraska. Our second, third year there, we had a couple of freshmen really step in and do well and put up some good numbers, and a couple of pitchers that have done really well in the past. And you think about Nick Schmidt. He came in here and pitched on Friday night as a freshman. And you could go on and on. There's a few other guys, but as far as everyday players, it's pretty difficult.
With Cronin, how do you see using him, trying to work him back into that?
Just got to get him back into shape. In perfect scenario this past Sunday would have been him to come in with a 3 or 4 run lead, and just pitch the ninth. But we just felt like the game was getting ready to get too close or out of hand. We just wanted to bring him in. Probably keep him to 30 pitches or under. He'll build back up. It was a hot day, first time out. Build him up a little stronger this week, and if we had to use him twice this weekend, it needs to be maybe an inning at a time or 2 innings, get him out, and the next day, maybe for a hitter or two.
You think it might end up being a net positive, that his little lull, that Lowski and Reindl had to close games out?
No doubt. They got to go in there and step it up and prove it to themselves and the team that they can get it done. Lowski's the one who really, came in, and I think Texas Tech was kind of like, yeah, there he is. And then after that, he's been really good. And Jake has had a couple of good outings as well. And then he was good. His first outing, his second outing, he got the double play ball, but he was tired, and he admitted he was gassed. So he has a little trouble bouncing back. He's better probably 2 days in a row than having that day off, then he gets sore. So, but yeah, to answer your question, there's no doubt that having, someone go down, in this case it was Cronin, who had been our guy that kind of getting us to the end of the game. Some guys had to step it up, and they did it.
I would just know Casey Murphy's season to this point.
Been great season for Casey. We didn't know if we had 3 starters or not. We skipped him opening weekend to basically save him to pitch against Arizona at a neutral site, and I think he goes out and we beat him 1-0. And Kerstad had a home run opposite field at night in California, which was very rare with the way the air is. And ever since that game, we knew that he was going to be the guy. And then we slowly rolled him back into the weekend, and he's been pretty consistent. He competes. A lot of times, the first inning you get through that, he rolls. He struggled at LSU, and then he shut him down. He gives us a chance to win. Seems like every time out, and he gives us innings. And we can figure out what we need to do to win the game.
What's your overall level of concern that you got a couple of dings and bruises, and even Cole seems to keep hitting balls off his foot?
Yeah, his foot's been bothering him for a month now, and it's been a little rough. But we just ask the guys that are banged up to be honest with us. How bad is it, and we'll go to the next guy. And we've had guys step it up. I mean, if we were in a super regional and we were 3 guys down, we'd be really concerned. But at this time of the year, obviously, we want to win the league, but we just want to play well, and we feel good about the guys we have. And I think that the young guys, they get the sense that the players are okay with that, the guys that play every day, and that the coaches are good with them. We're not walking around all nervous and on edge because we got Casey Opitz catching or Jack Kinley playing shortstop. It's not an issue to us. Yeah, you lose some experience, you may lose some power, definitely at the catching position, but as far as the defensive part of it, we feel pretty good.
Dave, I think you said this maybe a couple weeks ago. Is this the deepest team you've had? I mean,
well, you know, yeah, I would say so. I've said it. I think I said that before the season because I made the comment. You know, there's a couple, 3 guys that won't be in the lineup, and I almost feel bad that they're not in the lineup because they've worked hard enough and they're good enough. But we just have guys that are in front of them, and it's kind of stayed that way. You know, first base has been a little bit of an issue with, you know, RBIs and things that need to happen. So just made a change with an older guy, with a little better, who we feel like a little better defender. Doesn't mean that McFarland will be playing you know, against that lefty this Saturday, or Gates will come in and get a big hit or start a game, you know, and one of those guys takes off. That would be huge. But we do have a little bit of depth, and the outfield's not real deep. You know, the infield, we've got some guys. Catching, we feel like we've got enough. You know, in the pitching, we've had some guys step it up a little bit that has really helped us.
How much do those guys work as backup catchers?
Oh, they work just as hard as the starter. They work harder than the starter. The starter in practice, you know, is probably really more recovering and just trying to maintain. The backup guys, they're trying to grind it out and continue to get better. But as far as, you know, blocking balls and working, those guys, they work extremely hard.
I was talking about building relationships with those starters. Like, how often do they get to catch them?
Well, they're catching them all the time in their bullpens. And again, you have your starter who's got all these innings. We don't ask him, Grant, to catch much in practice in any of those bullpens. It's Opitz catching them. It's Plunkett catching those guys, and so they have a good feel for those guys. They're getting their work in, and they're you know. After each bullpen session, you know, there's a handshake and a pat on the back. Thanks for catching me. I mean, they're building it up a little bit.
It's all baseball from here on out for you guys. Just how nice is that? and then you get to go on the road now for maybe up to a week and a half.
You know, I've told these guys all the time, and they hear me say, this is my favorite time of the year. You know, we're not having to worry about them, what they're worrying about. You know, are they worrying about, you know, making a grade here, passing a test there, and it's kind of a relief to the coaches that we can just have their full attention. And I think for them, the ones that, and I think they all are, the ones that are really serious and know what we want to do, they can just play. And you know, I think it's a great feeling for a college baseball player, knowing that he doesn't have to worry about school right now and just go play.
I don't remember where Georgia was picked in the preseason, but I remember, I think at media days, you were high on those guys.
I was high on them. I made the comment that I picked Georgia a lot higher than a lot of the coaches did because I don't know where they were picked, but it was probably 4th or 5th or in their division, and I might have picked them 2nd. I'd have to go pull that out, but I'm thinking I picked them way up there, maybe 3rd. But I didn't pick them 5th or 6th or 7th, I'll guarantee you. I mean, I just know Scott, Coach Strickland, and I know that when he was, you know, given the opportunity to take that team another year, that they were gonna be good. They had good players. When they left here last year in mid-April, I felt like they had a lot of talent, and there are a lot of young guys on the field that, you know, if they continue to develop, which they have obviously, they were going to be a handful next year, which is this year.
There's actually a lot of pressure to win in this league in all sports, but, you know, in baseball, I mean, were you, as you said, he's your friend. Were you glad to see Georgia stick with them? And
yeah, I mean, he's a great coach. There's no doubt. Sometimes it just takes time. You've got to get the right personnel in. You've got to get the right mindset. You can get talent in, but if they don't want to be a team player or they're just worried about themselves, and you know, they're like any program that makes a change. It takes time. It's not a 2 or 3 year process. Not in this league. There's too many good teams. If it may take you 5 years. And the administration was patient with him. He's proven that what he did at Kent State was no fluke, and all they did was win the league every year. And he got Kent State to the College World Series, and they beat Oregon on the road in Oregon. You know, to get to that World Series, and then we played him in Game 1 up there in 2012. So, and that was after I got to spend the summer with him and be around him and watch him coach. And you know, he told me he wanted to be a coach in the SEC, and I laughed. You know, when he told me that, I said, "Do you really?" You know, and so we talked about that a couple times after he got the Georgia job, because he honestly, the Auburn job was open at the same time, and he had the option. He probably could have had either one of them. And you know, he just Georgia. He was more familiar with it. He coached at Georgia Tech when he was younger, and it's a great job.
You think now that they're having a good year, he's going to get it going there?
Oh, no doubt. I don't think they're going to go anywhere but from where they are up. And it's like anything else. You know, when you're in a location like that, 85 miles from Atlanta, perfect game has tournament after tournament after tournament there. You can just run up the road and watch players from all over the country, from Canada, and you're going to get your guys. Hey, come take a little road trip down here and visit our campus, and it's beautiful. So there's a lot of great teams in this league, and the East is just as tough as the West. But Scott will keep it rolling.
A couple more.
This is 2 weeks worth. Can you just calm down over there?
People are dropping off my flies.
And it's raining on me with that drop right there.
It's the seventh straight year you're finishing on the road.
And it'll be that way next year too, because the way it works is that it's all about finals. And so we probably play the first series at home, and then we play the last series on the road. I'm not in love with it. I'd rather play the first series on the road and finish at home, but it is what it is. I mean, you can look at, everybody can make a case for they don't like the way where they start or where they finish, or having to play this team and that team from the other league but not playing them, and they didn't play them, and you never know who's going to be good. You playing all the top teams and not playing the bottom of that league. So it's interesting. So what do? You play the whole league, and then you have one non-conference weekend, and then you go into conference play. Then we just all beat each other up, and we wouldn't have anything left. And you'd have a bunch of teams that are, I don't know, what would you throw in, 9 more games? Something like that, it'd be crazy. So it is what it is. That's what's in front of us, and you just face it and you go play.
When you see Kirstead and Martin's numbers and compare them against some of the better hitters you've had here, like Zach Cox and Benintendi, it's a lot higher in their freshman season. Is that a fair comparison to? Yeah,
Benintendi was hurt a lot. He had the hamate problem. He also had a hamstring issue. We knew he was going to have a lot better sophomore year. We couldn't have projected that, what we saw when he came back with strength and health after taking the summer off just to work out and get healthy. Or I think he would have probably hit, 340 or something if he was completely healthy. But, Zach Cox is a little different hitter because he didn't really have speed to beat balls out, but he had an incredible sophomore year. He had over 100 hits. Casey and they're different type players. Casey's a speed guy with power. It's a rare combination. Heston's just a guy that can hit the ball from line to line with power. And it's going to be a threat when he gets a little bit better. Both of them, the strike zone and swinging at their pitch early in the counts. And that just comes with experience and time. But, yeah, they're comparing those guys, they've just had a good year. I mean, I don't know what to say. Hopefully, that the last quarter of the season they can finish on a high note.
Who puts those guys together as roommates?
Clay Goodwin's involved with most of that, and you try to let friends or guys that know each other a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 go in there because there's 4 to a room, the freshmen, and it's a little 4 bedrooms, I guess, at the quads. And they usually try to take a guy that's maybe a local guy with a guy that's far away, just so you have a little bit of, maybe go home on the weekend with them in the fall. But that's probably just luck of the draw on that one.
Just curious if you've seen the video clip of LeBron James recalling like 4 or 5 straight possessions with like perfect details the other day. Have you seen that?
No, but I did see some. Because I think he's getting jabbed a little bit on Twitter, but I'm not a great NBA fan, I have to admit it. Love college basketball.
So have you seen the clip, and what did you make of it?
I didn't see the clip.
So Heston said that you can almost kind of do the same things like post games.
That I can?
Yeah.
Well, I can go back and remember pretty much everything. I don't have to write a lot of stuff down when it comes to baseball, at least our team. I don't know. I mean, that's what I do, I don't do a lot of other things real good. Sometimes I don't do this very good, but I don't. Heston, I'm going to have to talk to. I don't know where he's coming from with that one.